Hello everyone! Today, I am going to explain a science fiction disaster film, Greenland, released in 2020. The movie opens with a scene featuring construction work taking place on a tall building. During this scene, two men engage in a conversation about project delays. The individual displaying frustration is their superior John, who is the boss. In the subsequent scene, John is seen driving his car while tuning into a radio broadcast discussing a massive comet that will pass near Earth. He arrives at a suburban neighborhood and cautiously enters a house. Inside, he encounters his wife, who is on a treadmill. Their interaction is somewhat awkward as they discuss their child Nathan's upcoming birthday party. Later, their son joins them, and they discuss a drawing he created depicting the approaching comet, named Clark. While conversing on a bed, it is revealed that the boy is dealing with diabetes. They also touch upon John's separation from his mother. The family gathers in the living room to listen to news updates about the comet. These updates inform them that the celestial body is hurtling toward Earth at a rapid pace and is composed of numerous ice fragments trailing behind it. As night falls, John is depicted moving back into the house and settling into a guest room. The following morning, he listens to news reports about the comet once more. Despite the fact that the reports mention that parts of the comet will descend to Earth, they attempt to reassure the public that there's no need for concern. John starts cleaning the grill in preparation for an upcoming party, and his wife, Ally, enters the scene. She informs him that he needs to visit the store to pick up a few items. Accompanied by his son, John goes to the store. While at the store's parking lot, everyone directs their attention to the sky as they observe the comet approaching. Meanwhile, inside the store, as they are shopping, John receives a presidential alert on his phone, followed by an automated call. Interestingly, only John seems to be receiving this alert, and he learns that he, along with his wife and son, has been selected for emergency shelter relocation. This same alert is visible on the TV at their house, but Allie does not notice it. Hastily, John departs from the store accompanied by his son. During their journey home, he observes military vehicles and aircraft heading in the opposite direction. Upon their arrival home, the gathering for the party is already in progress. John engages in a conversation with Allie in the kitchen, inquiring whether she also received the same alert. Allie brushes it off, believing it's merely a test. However, John shares his observation of the military activity he witnessed on the way. Growing suspicious about the situation with the comet, both of them return to the living room, where everyone is tuned into the news, anticipating the footage of a part of the comet hitting the Atlantic Ocean. The mood remains nonchalant as an image of the fragment is displayed on the TV screen. Children begin counting down, expecting to witness a splash in the ocean. For a brief moment, nothing happens, but then a minor earthquake shakes things up. John steps outside the house and witnesses a flock of birds fleeing. Suddenly, a colossal shockwave strikes, affecting those indoors as well. Upon re-entering, everyone is gripped by fear and continues to listen to the news. The news anchor reveals that the piece of the comet has struck a city in Florida, causing a shockwave that reverberated for thousands of miles and utterly decimated the city. The news broadcast shows an orbital view of the comet's impact, prompting the people to speculate about the possibility of more fragments hitting Earth. John's phone receives another presidential alert, and the message is simultaneously displayed on the TV screen, allowing everyone to see its contents. Curiously, none of the others receive this message, which stipulates that John is only permitted to bring his family to the shelter. He obtains a security code on his phone to access the aircraft. In a state of panic, the rest of the group rushes to leave. John and Allie prepare while worrying if they have enough insulin for their son, who inquires about his grandfather. Meanwhile, Allie is occupied with food preparation while absorbing the distressing news. John retrieves Nathan, who comments on the sky appearing ablaze. As they pull out of the driveway, they notice that their friends haven't received the same call. One member of the group informs the family that the news is broadcasting information about a massive comet fragment referred to as Planet Killer, which is predicted to strike Earth within 2 days. As they're in the process of leaving, another neighbor rushes over, pleading for them to take their daughter along. John declines, and they drive away, having a discussion in the car where they debate the possibility that even if they agreed, she might be denied entry at the airbase. Subsequently, while on the road, they observe people already engaged in looting stores. Suddenly, they encounter an extensive traffic jam on the highway, prompting John to opt for an alternative route via a side road. They continue to listen to radio news updates, which state that there have been additional impacts and that more are anticipated, with the potential to devastate entire cities or even result in an extinction-level event. Upon reaching the airbase, which is under military guard, a crowd is gathered near the doors as access is restricted. Through perseverance, the family manages to make their way through the crowd and gains entry using the barcode they had received. Once inside, they are provided with wristbands for identification purposes and are instructed to consolidate their belongings into smaller bags. In a sudden realization, they discover that Nathan's insulin is missing. John heads back to the car to retrieve it. In the meantime, Allie approaches the soldiers to inform them about her husband's absence while explaining the boy's diabetes condition. However, her explanation leads to complications, and she is directed to a higher-ranking officer. This officer explains that an individual with a chronic condition cannot be accommodated on the plane. Despite Allie's efforts to reason with her, her appeal is rejected. As a result, she and her son are escorted out of the base. Meanwhile, John returns and begins searching for them. Unaware of the unfolding situation, he heads toward the planes with the intention of reuniting with his family. John manages to board a plane that's on the verge of departure and attempts to reach Ally. However, a fellow passenger takes notice of him and seizes the insulin, educating John about the regulations concerning chronic illnesses. Filled with panic, John requests to leave the plane. Suddenly, the air base is breached, and chaos ensues as gunfire erupts towards the military personnel. The plane that John was aboard suffers from a fuel leak, prompting him to urge everyone to evacuate. He flees as the plane explodes, triggering a series of explosions. Learning of his family's rejection and their return to the car, John arrives at the vehicle. Nathan's insulin levels are dangerously low. The tumult near the base persists, causing John to take some time to return to the car. Upon his arrival, he discovers a message from Ally, indicating that she's taking Nathan to her father's location. Determined, John sets off after them. While on the road, Allie and Nathan reach a pharmacy. After checking the boy's blood sugar, they seek insulin for him. Unexpectedly, a gang enters the pharmacy, initiating a violent shootout that results in multiple casualties. Allie and Nathan manage to escape, joining a group of people in a car. This group agrees to provide them with transportation to some distance along the way to her father's place. During the journey, the couple Allie is traveling with begins to act suspiciously and quickly. Eventually, they eject her from the car, confiscate her wristband, and drive off with her son, leaving her stranded on the highway. Meanwhile, John's luck holds as he finds a ride heading north. Conversing with one of the passengers, Colin, John learns that they are headed to Canada, where a contact has access to a plane that can transport people to the shelters. These shelters have been established by the military on Greenland. John is instructed to locate his family and meet the man in Canada, allowing them to take a plane to the shelters. However, tensions escalate inside the truck, and a fight breaks out when another passenger demands John's wristband. The altercation causes the truck to crash, leading to fatalities, including Colin. Simultaneously, Ally secures another ride towards the base where the individuals who took Nathan are headed. The boy remains with this group as they arrive at an airport base for a checkpoint. When the boy speaks up and asserts that the people he's with are not his parents, they are separated and taken into custody. Later, Ally manages to reach the base and embarks on a quest to locate Nathan. She moves from one stop to another, consulting various medical units. Ultimately, she reunites with her son and learns that he has been administered insulin. A nurse offers to assist Allie in finding a military transport to her father's city and assures her that they will supply her with medicine for Nathan. John breaks into a house in search of water and food. He promptly checks the news and learns that the main impact of the comet is anticipated in less than 24 hours. He discovers keys to the family car and takes it, rushing to Allie's father's location. He finds him engaged in a card game with his friends and inquires about Allie's whereabouts. The situation encourages them to put their disagreements aside and collaborate to locate Allie and Nathan. Meanwhile, Allie and Nathan reach a gas station and contact the house. John and Allie's father pick them up, reuniting the family. They return home and confirm the accuracy of the information John obtained about the shelters. John convinces Allie that their best chance is to journey to Canada, and they prepare for the trip. Regrettably, they fail to persuade Allie's father to accompany them. An enormous comet fragment descends nearby, prompting their immediate departure. Before they leave, Allie's father entrusts John with a gun and bids his farewells, opting to stay behind. As they drive away, John and Allie rekindle their connection, pledging to stick together. They encounter a roadblock due to falling comet debris. John maneuvers the car out of the line of vehicles, but fragments continue to rain down. Allie shields Nathan in the backseat while John searches for a safe haven. They take refuge near a bridge where others have also sought cover. John aids a man trapped in a burning car. Later that night, their journey continues into Canada. They listen to the radio and learn that time is running out before the most significant fragment of the comet strikes, potentially causing catastrophic destruction. On their route, they witness one plane taking off and another nearly doing so. They chase the second plane, John using his car to block its path. The pilot hesitates due to limited capacity, but they manage to convince him. During the flight, John dreams of better times. Upon waking, they approach Greenland, seemingly unaffected by the comet until a fragment impacts the water, generating a shockwave that jolts the plane. Both engines begin to fail, and the pilot strives to maintain control. They successfully glide and land on a glacier, but the impact incapacitates the pilots. A military plane lands nearby, and John leads the passengers to it. A military truck transports them to the shelter. Inside the shelter, the planet killer's impact draws near. Flashbacks depict their previous happy life together. As they brace for the imminent collision, the shelter doors open, and a bird's flight outside becomes a symbol of hope. They exit the shelter to witness the devastated planet. 9 months later, the world lies in ruins, cities devastated. A radio signal searches for survivors, and communication reveals that radiation has dissipated. The shelter's hatches open, revealing the family's survival. They step out, facing the planet's devastation. The sight of a bird flying signifies hope. Radio signals connect from all corners of the globe, confirming the presence of survivors worldwide.